They love 'em.
Especially now it's back to school.
Yes, sir. Everybody wants the tool. Guy told me the crane was $4,000. So. I'm having to pay for an 8-hour day, no matter what time it takes.
That's just cheap.
Much. It was $4,000 plus another 1,200.
It is warm.
Mobilization or something.
That just means 12 extra hundred. That's all. They're
Really doing nothing. That's just 12 extra hundred.
It's a mobility
Yeah,
mode
dude.
to get it there.
Somebody has to answer
If
the
I'm
phone.
paying him for a full day, that's part of getting there.
Somebody has to answer the phone.
That's right. So that's 12, and then if they have to.
Suzanne, you ready?
Okay. Wait a couple months.
5:03.
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock?
Here he
Oh,
comes.
it's 5 o'clock. Yeah, I'm gonna have to like this a little bit. That might.
Moved on. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the Planning Commission meeting for Tuesday, August 18th, 2026 to order. May I have the roll call, please?
Chairman Cattouli,
Here.
Commissioner Bellamy,
Here.
Commissioner Goszewski,
Present.
Commissioner Horton,
Present.
Commissioner Oler,
Present.
Commissioner Prince,
Here.
Commissioner Wise.
Present.
Chairman, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Do I have a motion about the approval of the meeting minutes for June 16th and July 21st?
I'll make a motion, we approve both as submitted.
Second.
And I think there were some changes or typographical changes.
It was just 2 typos. You put the changes in, Suzanne?
Yeah, I've already uploaded it to the agenda, the new ones, but I didn't print them out for you guys again. Yeah.
Make a motion to approve as submitted.
Approve as submitted.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion about the minutes? All right, call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, item number 5, old business. Suzanne?
Yes, this is minor PDD amendment Z2613 that you guys saw at the last meeting. There were some issues between Roberts Roost Single Family and the Roberts Roost Villas, and we met with both of them on July 30th, city staff did, to help them resolve things, but we did not receive a resolution to that prior to the deadline for this packet, so we're just requesting to postpone to the next meeting.
Okay. So I guess we would need a motion to postpone.
I move that the Planning Commission postpone the Minor Plan Development District Amendment Z-26-13 as submitted.
Second.
First and second. Any further discussion? Do we have any discussion from the public? Okay, no further discussion. Call for the vote. All those in favor of postponement?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay, item 6A is street renaming SN 26-1. This is renaming a road located in the city limits that is known as Sandridge Road Extension, West Pelican, and Old Sanders Road on various plats. So this is combining all of those names into Atlantic Breeze Drive, which is already what it is named in the county portion. we talked about this a lot this morning. I don't want to belabor anything. All the findings are in the staff report, but I'll just go through them briefly. The applicable standard is Section 629, 1200B of the South Carolina Code of Laws. Proposed findings of fact, existing street naming. The Planning Commission finds that the use of different names for portions of the same continuous roadway creates an inconsistent street naming condition. Addressing an emergency response, the Planning Commission finds that establishing a single name for the continuous roadway will eliminate an existing source of addressing an emergency response confusion and satisfies Section 629, 1200B1. And then street identification and directions, the Planning Commission finds that the proposed name change will simplify street identification, mapping, addressing, and the giving of directions along the roadway and satisfies 629, 1200B2.
Okay, you've all heard the request. Do we have any discussion? Any discussion from the public? Okay, I'll call for a motion.
I move that the Planning Commission adopt the findings of fact contained in this report and approve street renaming SN-26-1, establishing Atlantic Breeze Drive as the legal name of the roadway previously identified in various records as Sandridge Road Extension, West Pelican Road, and Old Sanders Road.
Second.
We have a first and second. Final comments? Public? Last chance? Okay, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
All right, item 6B, rezoning request Z2614, requesting the rezoning of 6 parcels containing 1.40 acres located on Point Marsh Lane from highway commercial to R2 medium density residential. Subject parcels are developed with single-family detached dwellings. Surrounding parcels are zoned R2, highway commercial, and conservation preservation. The subject parcels themselves have historically been developed residentially. Properties along the marsh are predominantly residential with commercial development along Sea Mountain Highway. The purpose of the Highway Commercial District is to provide commercial opportunities to the traveling public in areas in the community where large-scale commercial projects may take place with minimal impact on contiguous residential development. And the purpose of the R2 district is to provide for limited alternatives to single-family housing, smaller lot development, and correspondingly higher densities, but not permit the crowding of development on individual lots or parcels. The Highway Commercial District allows a broad range of retail and services, lodging and residential uses, institutional and recreational uses, and other special uses such as parking, cemeteries, adult entertainment, and gaming. Permitted uses within the R2 district include zero lot lines, single-family detached developments, townhouse developments, family daycare homes, triplex and quadruplex dwellings, and single-family and common projects. For staff review, planning supports the proposed rezoning, although R2 is not a recommended zoning district within the mixed-use future land use classification. The subject properties are currently developed residentially in the surrounding area away from Sea Mountain Highway. Frontage has transitioned predominantly to residential development. Staff finds that the proposed R2 zoning is appropriate for the existing development pattern and recognizes changed conditions in the locality consistent with Section 23-44C. No issues with the zoning administrator. Public Works has no issues and noted access remains subject to city encroachment permit approval. Fire Marshal has no issues, but has requested a fire apparatus turning exhibit and a fire hydrant exhibit. For the record, the applicable standards under section 23-4 of the zoning ordinance are outlined in the staff report. And based on the applicable standards, the proposed findings of fact, which were discussed at workshop, are contained in the staff report, are as follows. The Planning Commission finds that the requested rezoning would change the zoning designation of existing residential properties from a commercial district to a residential district. The Planning Commission finds that the requested R2 zoning is not consistent with the mixed-use future land use designation or its recommended zoning districts. The Planning Commission finds that although R2 is not a recommended zoning district within the mixed-use future land use, the requested rezoning does not violate the comprehensive plan when considered in light of the existing residential use of the subject properties and the established development pattern of the immediate area. Planning Commission finds that the uses permitted within the R2 district are appropriate for the subject properties based upon their existing residential use and the established development pattern of the surrounding area. Planning Commission finds public school capacity is constrained. However, the proposed rezoning applies to 6 existing residential parcels, creates no additional lots, and changes the regulatory status of an existing residential development pattern rather than introducing residential use into an area where it is not otherwise permitted. Planning Commission further finds that adequate roads and other public services exist or can be provided to serve the uses permitted by the proposed R2 zoning. Planning Commission finds the proposed rezoning is consistent with existing plans for public water and sanitary sewer service. And Planning Commission finds that the transition of the surrounding area from commercial or recreational activity to predominantly residential development away from Sea Mountain Highway constitutes substantial change or changing conditions in the locality and provides a basis for amendment of the zoning map pursuant to section 23-4(c). Yeah.
Okay, is there any discussion about this particular request?
One question for Chris Nuri would be, we talked about it this morning, this possibly being spot zoning with 2 separate parcels.
If you could see that over there.
And is it correct that there's already a residential lot on one of those properties in between? There's a residential home or something? There's nothing? So even though it's zoned highway commercial right now, there are residential homes there. So, okay.
How large a property would be required if it would not be able to be spot? It would be considered spot zone based upon how many square foot?
Chris, can you speak into the microphone, please?
If you could repeat your question.
If this is not spot zoning,
Yes.
because the size of the parcels in between the 2 parcels requesting to come in is not spot zoning, because it's like, what would be the size of a parcel where it would be spot zoning?
If you had a classic example would be if you had highway commercial all around a single piece of property, and in the center of the highway commercial, there was a request to rezone to another zoning designation, R1 in the center of that. That situation would be a classic example of spot zoning. Everything surrounding that is a property that is zoned highway commercial. In this instance, you don't have that. So for that reason, my opinion is that this would not be an issue with spot zoning. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does, but I mean, I think I'd rather know that if it's less than an eighth of an acre, it's not spot zoning. If it's more than a quarter of an acre, then it is spot zoning.
I don't think that there's a magic number
Okay.
regarding that. But I don't think a court would find this situation to be spot zoning.
Thank you. I do have a question on the properties themselves. And I know that there are a lot of very strong, very mature trees that are not pines. And I guess I have a question, well, I know I have a question as to whether or not these properties are going to be scraped and buildings such as what's further down on Point Marsh.
The applicant, David O'Connell, here.
Yeah, I can probably clarify some things that'll probably make it easier is we only bought one of these lots. We're not buying the rest of them. We only bought one, the most dilapidated house, and tore it down. But when I went to go to planning and said, hey, what are the chances of zoning? Said, go talk to all the owners and see what they want to do. So I went and spoke to every single owner and said, this is what we're going to do. You can do whatever you want. And they all chose to go with R2, but they're all have no desire to knock their house down.
Okay.
So I think we're going to probably be the only brand new house there for who knows how many years before somebody else might do the same thing.
Okay.
And the only reason we did it was because the commercial zoning has bigger side setbacks and they're beautiful marsh lots. So you want to get the big, the big view.
Right.
But that's all we're doing is one lot.
Oh, okay.
And I can't, let me see.
That's the lot right there that we bought right there. That's the only one.
So all the trees are staying. We've already, I think we've already knocked down that house. I'd have to go look, but I think we already knocked it down. It was falling in anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
Anybody else have any questions for me?
Nope.
I do just want to comment on the spot zoning. We spoke with Jim earlier, and he clarified that, spot zoning could be an issue with one parcel benefiting, but since there's multiple parcels here, we don't see that being an issue.
Okay. Any other questions or discussion? Anyone from the public have any questions or comments? I'll call for a motion.
I move that the Planning Commission adopt the the findings of fact contained in this report and recommend approval of rezoning request Z-26-14 from highway commercial to medium density residential.
Second.
All right, got a first and a second. Last chance for comments from the public. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Item 6C, annexation and zoning designation Z-2615, with a petition to annex 0.22 acres on Waterway Drive. The lot is currently unincorporated and vacant and zoned resort commercial by Horry County, and requesting the zoning district single-family residential low density R1. The property is contiguous to the corporate boundary of the city and is currently zoned RC under Horry County. Surrounding properties within the city limits are zoned R1, R2, and PDD. Surrounding properties within Horry County are zoned RC. R1 permitted uses are single-family detached dwellings, excluding mobile homes, neighborhood and community parks and centers, golf courses, and similar outdoor uses, not lighted for night use, publicly owned recreation facilities, churches, places of worship, religious institutions, including accredited educational facilities. For staff review, planning supports the proposed annexation and R1 zoning designation. The proposed R1 zoning is consistent with the residential suburban land use classification and is identified as a primary recommended zoning district for that classification in the comprehensive plan. The proposed zoning is also compatible with the existing residential development pattern and zoning in the surrounding area. No issues from zoning. Public Works has no issue, but noted access remains subject to City of North Palm Beach encroachment permit approval, and no issues from the fire marshal. For the record, the applicable standards for the annexation pursuant to the South Carolina Code of Laws and Section 23-115 and 23-4 of the city zoning ordinance are outlined in the staff report. And based on the applicable standards, the proposed findings of fact, which we discussed at workshop, are here in the staff report, are as follows. So looking at annexation petition and contiguity, the Planning Commission finds that the petition has been submitted under the 100% owner petition method and that the record demonstrates that the property is contiguous to the city within the meaning of Section 5-3-305. Annexation considerations. The Planning Commission finds that annexation of the subject property is consistent with the city's comprehensive plan regarding incorporation of small unincorporated pocket areas and would reduce fragmentation of the city's jurisdictional boundary without creating a material adverse impact on city services. Relationship to the comprehensive plan. The Planning Commission finds that the proposed R1 zoning designation directly corresponds to the residential suburban future land use classification and its primary recommended zoning district. Whether the request violates or supports the comprehensive plan, Planning Commission finds that the proposed R1 zoning designation supports the comprehensive plan by implementing the residential suburban future land use classification and providing a zoning district consistent with the intended low-density residential development pattern. Appropriateness of the proposed zoning. Planning Commission finds that the uses permitted within the R1 district are appropriate for the subject property based upon the size and location of the property, the surrounding development pattern, and the existing residential zoning in the area. Public facilities and service. Planning Commission finds that public school capacity is constrained. However, the limited development potential of the 0.22 acre property limits the potential additional demand associated with the proposed zoning. Planning Commission further finds that adequate roads and other public services exist or can be provided to serve the property. Water and sewer service. Planning Commission finds the proposed annexation and R1 zoning designation are consistent with the existing provision of public water and sanitary sewer service to the area. Basis for zoning map amendment. Planning Commission finds that establishment of R1 zoning for the subject property implements the comprehensive plan and provides a basis for favorable action pursuant to Section 23-4(4)(a).
Okay, thank you for that presentation. Do we have any discussion on this particular request? Any comments, questions? Okay,
Mr. Chairman, I move the planning commission adopt the finding of facts contained in this report and recommend that city council approve annexation and zoning designation Z 26-15, including annexation of the subject property and establishment of single-family residential low-density R1 zoning.
Second.
all right, we got a first and a second. Last chance for comments by the commissioners. Anyone from the public care to comment or have a question? Call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
All right, we have item 6D, annexation and zoning designation Z2617. With a petition to annex 0.5 acres on Jack Circle Road, the lot is currently unincorporated and zoned residential, including mobile homes MSF6 by Horry County. And they are requesting the zoning district, single-family residential, low-density R1. The subject property area is contiguous to the corporate boundary. The parcel currently contains a mobile home, and surrounding parcels within city limits are zoned PDD, and surrounding Horry County parcels are zoned MSF6.
You put up the map.
Oh, sorry. For staff review, planning has no issue with the proposed petition for annexation in R1 zoning. The R1 zoning is consistent with the residential suburban future land use designation or future land use classification and the comprehensive plan's annexation strategy for Little River Neck Road area. The existing mobile home may continue as a lawful non-conforming use following annexation. Public sanitary sewer is not currently available. The existing residential use may continue to utilize its on-site septic system in accordance with applicable requirements. No issues from zoning, no issues from public works, as well as no issues with the fire marshal. For the record, the applicable standards for the annexation pursuant to the South Carolina Code of Law in section 23-115 and 23-4 of the city's zoning ordinance are outlined in the staff report. Based on the applicable standards, the findings of fact, which were discussed at workshop, are outlined in the staff report, are as follows. Annexation petition and contiguity. Planning Commission finds the record demonstrates that the property is contiguous to the city with the meaning of section 5-3-305, and the property has been submitted for zoning designation as required by section 23-115. Annexation considerations. Planning Commission finds that the proposed annexation is consistent with the city's comprehensive plan strategy for future incorporation of property in the Little River Neck Road area, and the limited scale of the proposed annexation does not create service or infrastructure impacts inconsistent with that strategy. Relationship to the comprehensive plan. Planning Commission finds that the requested R1 zoning designation directly corresponds to the residential suburban future land use classification and its primary recommended zoning district. Whether the request violates or supports the comprehensive plan. Planning Commission finds the requested R1 zoning supports the comprehensive plan by implementing the residential suburban future land use classification and maintaining the low density residential development pattern contemplated for the area. Appropriateness of the proposed zoning. Planning Commission finds the uses permitted within R1 district are appropriate for the subject property based upon the existing residential character of the property and surrounding area. And the land use designation, the existing mobile home does not preclude establishment of R1 zoning because it may continue as a lawful non-conforming use. Public facilities and services. Planning Commission finds that public school capacity is constrained. However, the limited development potential of the approximate 0.5 acre property limits the potential additional demand associated with the proposed zoning. And they further find that adequate roads and other public services exist or can be provided to serve the property. Water and sewer service. Planning Commission finds the proposed R1 zoning designation is consistent with existing and anticipated utility service in the area. The current absence of public sanitary sewer does not preclude the proposed zoning designation because the existing residential use may continue to utilize its on-site septic system, and for future development remains subject to applicable water and wastewater requirements. Basis for zoning map amendment. Planning Commission finds that establishment of R1 zoning for the subject property implements the comprehensive plan and provides a basis for favorable action pursuant to section 23-4-4-A.
Okay. All heard the proposed staff report, et cetera. Any discussion or questions? Anyone from the public have any comments or questions on this request? Nope. Okay, call for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the Planning Commission adopt the findings of fact contained in this report and recommend that City Council approve annexation and zoning designation Z-26-17, including annexation of the subject property and establishment of single-family residential low-density R1 zoning.
I second that.
Okay, we got a first and a second. Last chance for comments. Anyone from the public? No. Okay, call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. I think we should also note that there's a concurrent public hearing with regard to this zoning request.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
There's a concurrent public hearing with this request for the rezoning.
Yeah.
That's all. Just a comment.
Okay, item 6E, annexation and zoning designation Z-2618, with a petition to annex 0.25 acres on Jack Circle Road. This request is substantially identical to the previous request. So as for the exception of the subject property, but for the record, the applicable standards are all in the staff report, and it was discussed at detail this morning.
Yeah, there's no sense in duplicating what was
It's the exact
previously
same
said.
as the last one. so
Exactly.
Save the,
Lot of
So what that report is for the other parcel can also be applied to this parcel. So if that's okay with everyone?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, any discussion or questions about this request? Anyone from the public? Call for a motion.
I move that the Planning Commission adopt the findings of fact contained in this report and recommend that City Council approve annexation and zoning designation Z-26-18, including annexation of the subject property and establishment of single-family residential low-density R1 zoning.
Second.
Okay, we got a first and a second. Last chance for official comments. Anyone from the public? Okay, I call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it.
Item 6F, annexation and zoning designation Z2619. This is a petition to annex 2 acres on Water Tower Road. This is being postponed, but just some background, you have seen this application, the petition, twice now. The first petition was for limited industrial, and the second was for highway commercial. But there is a 12-month resubmission period, and that has not yet expired. So staff recommends the Planning Commission postpone consideration of the application to the October 6th meeting.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the planning commission postpone the petition for annexation and zoning Z26-19 as submitted to the October 6, 2026 meeting.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Any discussion on this postponement recommendation by staff? Okay. Anyone from the public? Nope. All right, call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Item 6G is final subdivision plat SUB 2629. Major final bonded plat of subdivision creating 68 residential lots, 3 open space lots in public rights of way in Phase 1A of Dockside Preserve. And recommended approval of a zoning text amendment converting this RV park into single-family dwellings March 4th, 2025, and the Planning Commission approved the preliminary plat of the subdivision for this phase November 11th, 2025. The total area of this subdivision is 26.87 acres in its zoned plan development district. The density of the subdivision is 2.5 dwelling units per acre, and this plat creates road connection to existing Seaversey Drive, continues Bowline Boulevard, and creates Tide Creek Road and Estuary Place. There were 3 minor formatting corrections that have been identified and addressed by the Planning Division, and the City Attorney has approved the form of financial guarantee. The Zoning Division has no issue with the proposed major final plat of subdivision, and the Board of Zoning Appeals previously approved the applicant's variant request with stipulations. The Public Works Department has no issue with the proposed major final plat. The Fire Marshal has no issue with the proposed major final plat. Planning Commission finds it has jurisdiction over the application, and the application has received departmental review and required hearing by 20-33A. The Planning Commission finds the submitted final plat substantially conforms to the approved preliminary plat as requested by 2033B. The Planning Commission finds the final plat contains the information required by 2033B applicable to the subdivision subject to the completion of required final certifications and recordation documents prior to recording. The Planning Commission finds the required departmental reviews have been completed and incorporated into the record, and that no departmental comments preclude approval of the final plat. The Planning Commission finds the approved cost estimate and form of financial guarantee satisfy requirements of 2033A and 2036 for purposes of final plat approval, subject to delivery of the executed financial guarantee in the approved form and amount prior to certification of the final plat for recording.
Okay. Note that the conditions of approval, the Planning Commission requires a prior certification of the final plat for recording. The applicant shall provide the executed financial guarantee in the form of approved, in the form approved by the city attorney, in the amount approved by city engineer, in accordance with section 20-36. That was done, right, Chris?
That's correct.
Okay, that's been confirmed. All right, any further discussion, questions? I'll call for a motion.
I move that the Commission adopt the findings of fact contained in this report and approve the final plat for Dockside Preserve Phase 1A, Sub 2629, subject to the conditions contained herein.
Second.
First and second. Last chance for comments by the commissioners. Anyone from the public? No comments from the public. Okay. Call for a vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, I think that's it. Yep. Okay. Any comments from the public on any items that may be before the commissioners? Nope, no public comment. Last chance for commissioners to make comment. No speeches, nothing. Okay,
Chairman, I move that we adjourn.
Second.
I got a first and second on adjournment. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it.